All right. Listen, speaking of a civic nationalist, American treasure.
That's a terrible segue.
American-
Sam, that is not a good segue.
American treasure, Bill O'Reilly, apparently has set up his studio in his living room and broadcasts from there daily. His den, not his living room. I don't know.
Does he sexually harass people on the air? Is that part of the new show?
I don't know. I don't know what the. Let's
no
tune
spin
in.
zone.
No
Don't
spin zone.
move.
Let's see. He's talking to Dennis Miller. Is that right? Are we getting this? All right. So he brings Dennis Miller on. He introduced him. All right. Here we go.
So today I want to bring in my pal Dennis Miller, who does a very funny bit on the Spin Stops Here shows, live shows that Miller and I do across the country, about what he believes Americans are owed who get government subsidies. Because Miller and I, and maybe you, we pay a lot of money to the government. When you add it all up, it's about 50% for me. All right?
Oh, man,
and
I feel bad.
a lot of that money, Miller's money, my money, it goes to people to help them eat, have houses, have health insurance, whatever. So what do we owe these people? All right, Miller joins us from Santa Barbara, California. What do we owe, Miller?
Nice intro.
Yeah.
Nice intro,
Pause
Bill.
it. Pause it. Now hold on. I just want
Solid.
everybody.
Solid intro.
I want everybody to know this is the hilarious bit from his from the tour. So get ready, folks. You better sit down.
I also love the way.
Hey, I want
love the
to.
way
I know. I've got some friends who are listening while they're driving, and I just want to tell them maybe it's time to pull over to a rest stop because I don't want you. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want to be responsible for anything that happens now. All right, so let this roll. But please, if you're driving, pull over to a rest stop.
From Santa Barbara, California. What do we owe, Miller?
First off, I was kind of half listening there. Did you say that the only votes they could depend on were Charles Manson and Heidi Fleiss? Is that what I heard?
That's what I said, Miller. Thanks for really paying attention. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Well, in the background, I heard
Nice
Manson
ad-lib.
and some woman named Heidi. I thought,
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
Heidi's
know
from
that.
North Dakota, and Manson is from West Virginia, not Manson.
Heidi
Well,
Fleiss
that's
references.
certainly an interesting duo there. Listen, Bill.
Oh, pause it. Hold on for 1 second. I get it now. Heidi Heitkamp and Joe Manchin, and he thought it was somebody
Heidi
else
Fleiss.
and Manson, because Manson's been in the news a lot lately if you live in a time like 25 years ago. Go ahead.
Well, also,
listen,
you can
Bill,
see what
I
Manson
think
is.
it's an
You can
interesting
see
comment
Manson.
on our-
You can see how Miller's going to be like on age 90. He's like, certainly an interesting duo there. That's what he just said.
Son.
All right. Well,
Manson.
that's certainly an interesting duo there. Listen, Bill, I think it's an interesting comment on our country that for the Democrats to have complete control, they had to lose the
Easy,
presidency.
Groucho.
I've never seen them in more control than this. They dictate everything, and they're taking a huge chunk out of Trump. If I was Trump, I'd start half-stepping this and get out of there. The country's lost in my book, but I've told you that many times.
Right.
Oh,
to think that
this is a
50%
downer, Dennis.
Wait. Did he just say that the
I thought
Democrats
he's doing
control
comedy.
everything?
He comes on to do the comedy on O'Reilly's where O'Reilly wears a green screen show.
Hold on. The antidepressants haven't kicked in yet, so bop.
Some of the people pay federal income tax and 50%
Hey, here's
don't.
his antidepressant reference. What are you on, Darvon?
I don't even know what that is, but I know enough
I
to
know
know
it's
it's funny.
an old.
But look,
it's
I
an
like that.
old,
This is depressed Dennis Miller. Bop. Countries destroyed. Bop. Black people, college professors. Bop, Billy.
Real nice. Not the country I signed up for, Chacho.
The least he could do if he's going to call into the show is to get a phone that he can we can understand what he's saying, or he's just going to start talking on do the phone like this. All right, good.
If it's half and half, you know what they do in math class, they would reduce terms down, 50-50, down to one-on-one sponsorship. where we at least get to meet the person that we're taking care of once a month. And if they're a legit person, imagine how heartwarming that would be to know you were taking care of somebody who really needed it. I think people would queue up.
Pause it for 1 second. All right. So what he's saying is, let me just the idea.
What did I miss?
Well, he's talking about. Dennis Miller is making the argument that 50% of the country pay income taxes, and the other 50% don't. And this is the old Mitt Romney chestnut. Now, of course, everybody pays all sorts of different taxes, whether it's sales taxes or payroll taxes or whatnot. And Dennis Miller is saying we should all get paired up. Those of us who pay income taxes, who are doing really well, so well that we can are obligated to kick some back to the society that makes it possible for us to do well. We should get to meet who we sponsor, and we can meet them. And if they're a legit person, that would be great. But Dennis Miller is going to tell us the dark side of what happens
You're getting
if you
some
meet
food
somebody.
because of me. Bop, bop, bop. I feel like the emperor.
Here we go.
I
Exactly.
love bop, bop,
That
bop.
we're taking care of once a month. And if they're a legit person, imagine how heartwarming that would be to know you were taking care of somebody who really needed it. I think people would queue up to do that. But if you get to meet your person and he's a slap ass and he's not even trying, I think you should go back and report that and say, I'd like a new person. This guy's a goofball. So I would advocate, instead of 50-50, one-on-one sponsorship where you get to have breakfast with them once a month. Naturally, you have to agree beforehand to pick up the tab on breakfast. If they're a good person, like I said, your heart is warm. If they're gaming it, you should go back and say, the person you've given me to sponsor is not doing his part. And I think that might solve a lot of things.
All right, now say you.
Pause it for 1 second.
Maybe it's a young hot girl. You can coerce her into sex or a date. There's endless possibilities.
So Dennis Miller, just to catch everybody up, is now suggesting that he would be the morality police, and he will deem whether or not you are worthy of government largesse. Now, I would hope also that there would also be an opportunity for people who aren't getting, let's say, the mortgage interest deduction, or are not paying 15% taxes on their capital gains for the shareholders that I'm sure Dennis Miller Inc. kicks back to him. And they get to judge whether or not Dennis Miller is morally worthy of his government largesse. But let's continue here.
I think that might solve a lot of things.
All right, now say we institute that system, and you meet Ricky. Okay, so Ricky and Miller, and you dine out in a nice Santa Barbara lunch spot.
That's the
And
name
what are
he
your
came up
questions for
after
Ricky?
doing this bit a million times on the
many
road.
job
Pause
interviews?
it, pause it.
What a great straight man that Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, you're meeting with Jamar,
Hey, you're meeting with
Juquan,
Ricky.
and Jamal. Better just go, Ricky. Okay.
Is this a bit? Are they saying this is a bit that people would be subjected to? Would be a lethargic Dennis Miller mumbling about his 50-50?
There you go, man. This is what it's come down to. I wonder how much millions of dollars they make on this tour.
Lunch spot. And what are your questions for Ricky?
How many job interviews did you go on this month? Yeah, tell me about it.
Good stuff.
Listen, I hope all the answers to these are good. I think in the world we live, if you try to pretend something that even in my act is painted as a joke, when you do it in a more extrapolative manner like this, you have to delineate exactly what you mean.
The funniest word, I think it was Mel Brooks who said, extrapolative is a funny word.
What the fuck is the matter with these people? I mean, this is it's
Extrapolative.
hilarious, but Jesus Christ, he's a sociopath.
I mean,
Yeah,
it is a
it's
really
really,
funny joke, but
really
it does.
grotesque. And like Ricky has to travel to Santa Barbara. That's so fucked up. Why
Ricky
would he go
will-
there?
Ricky lives in Santa Barbara because
Yeah.
my
No,
tax
it's
dollars got
local.
him a mansion next to me. That's how it
Ricky's
works.
got to take like 10 buses just to eat with Dennis Miller. Ugh.
Of course,
And
I've
then-
got to
No,
pay for
think
the buses.
globally, but think globally, but abuse people locally.
Globally, I want to get rid of all support structures so that there's more starving people. Locally, I'd like to have a personal individual to harass and mind over. But the way he says it, he's like, I pictured that at the lunch, and Miller's like looking at his hand. Like, he's not even giving you like a bad Star Trek reference. He's like, so, when was the last time you had a job? Pop, pop, pop.
Hey, did you go out to look for work?
But here's
or did you lobe and leave? Was he just like the references came out just because he can't stop them? I don't know, Loeb and Leopold.
Like, well, I would be running for a job like Jesse Owens if I were you.
My concern is, how can you trust Ricky to tell you the truth anyways? I mean, you're just going to ask if he's been on a job interview. How can you really trust him?
I'm like
he doesn't pay taxes. He doesn't pay federal income taxes.
Miss Cleo. I'm psychic. Bop, bop, bop.
I would ask. I think you need to have. Documentation. You need to come up with some type of documentation system. Is that funny?
It's like when you're on parole and you need to do certain things, and then people sign a little card for you or whatever. And this time, you're Ricky, and you have this card, and
you got your
they're
card.
choreographing it so around. Like, and now this
Miller.
is the time of the show where the mic really drops. What Miller says, there should be a documentation system for him. Take it away, Dennis. Yeah, documentation. Bop, bop, bop.
Hey, Ricky. So, Ricky, let me ask you a question. You're telling me if I dumped you out of your wheelchair right now, you wouldn't be able to get back in, right? If it's legitimate, what you're saying, right? Oh, your legs don't work.
Okay, so
is that the only thing on you that doesn't work?
Ricky, it says here you're 8 years old and you want health care. All right. Well, let's see. I get a couple of words here. I want you to spell. And if you get them wrong, then you lose your insulin money.
Miller, don't forget. And then there's the inhaler bit, right? Miller, don't forget it. Yeah, that's where we go. Okay, what is it, Ricky? If you need an inhaler, then we're going to take a nice little run around the block. And if you lose your breath, then I'll hand you your inhaler. If you don't, bop, bop, bop.
You're 8 years old. Now, you're 8 years old. If we cured your blood disease, what would you do as an older adult? Tell us what you do as an older adult that we should make you live now.
So, Ricky, you want to make sure you get food stamps so that you can eat lunch at your elementary school. What do you think this is? The cabinet of Dr. Calgary?
What is this, the Waldorf?
What is this, the Waldorf?
What is this, Horn and Hard Arts?
And then, Miller, you remember how you say when the kid goes with their food stamp to lunch, however, all the other kids who pay with normal money should be in a line, and they know that he's the kid with the food stamp. Yeah, that's right, Billy, so that they know to be ashamed, and then one day they'll get a job. Bop, bop, bop.
I can't get over the audio quality of this.
Hey,
it's
pundits.
really still bothering me. Like, they can't bring them in. And
You don't use food stamps at
Tom?
at school for lunch. It is a different program.
No, I understand that.
And
I understand.
As professional,
He was using humor
pundits.
in an exaggerated.
I was,
it's an extrapolative way.
The cabinet of Dr.
Andy, don't
Calgary
get in my
does
way
not
when
involve
I-
either one of those
When
things.
I get to point out Sam and
She's extrapolating. She's
Sam and Mike being
extrapolating. She's extrapolating on our bit.
Hey, look, Kelly, parenthetically.
Andy,
Hey, Kelly.
Andy,
You're so worried about getting the word in edgewise, you should use some kind of a tool that would open up the edge.
Hey, Miller. Maybe I'll have my one. You have Ricky. I have Jamar. Oh, fuck. I got to come up with a different name for that guy. Anyways, we get both of our guys together to do a push-up contest together to see who gets food next month. That could be fun. Film it, put it on
Why
YouTube.
can't he use Habib? Why is he not using Habib instead of Ricky?
Terrorists,
in the old days,
not
he would have
poor.
said Habib.
Terrorists, not poor.
I'd say we put him in the Coliseum and let him fight it out.
But you can't do stuff like that anymore because the country's over.
That could be the way that we do it.
Trump's president, Republicans run all the Congress, and we're sitting on our asses with millions of dollars doing the least funny comedy imaginable. But Democrats run everything. Pop, pop, pop.
Imagine the world. Seriously, this is the thing I can't believe. I am an angry person at times. What is he angry about? What is he not getting, Dennis Miller, that he thinks his world is crumbling?
I'll tell you what's wrong. I go down to the Whole Foods, and there's like half of the vegetables I've never even seen them. Mexican squash.
Chacho.
What the hell is that?
Hey, I don't need eight styles of eggplant.
Hey, how about just some carrots, okay?
A college course I'll never need to take or be exposed to is being taught. Think about it.
Every time I turn on, every time I turn on MTV, I don't even know the musicians anymore. What the hell is going on?
And they're all, how do we say this, Billy? Schwarzes!
What'd you say?
Hey, Schwarzes, bop, bop, bop.
Do you have any
I
idea
don't like that.
how many?
I take myself out of that last loop.
Do you have any idea how many cars are hybrids now? It's driving me crazy.
I like the new phase of Miller that there isn't even the out-of-date references anymore. It's just sort of like, it's just so frustrating. It's like poor people eating. Bop, bop, bop.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry you live in Watts, but we can't put an outlet in everybody's garage for electric guitar.
I did start the conversation by dropping Manson.
It's like Charles Manson took over the government and now a black guy's in charge of everything. Bop, bop, bop.
You know, if Dennis Miller was like you had to do
Dennis Miller. The wilted bop,
really
bop, bop.
deflated Dennis Miller. That's what the D-man, that's why he calls him the D-man. You're deflated today.
I can't believe I've never heard him like this. This actually makes me concerned.
Super depressed. They bring Tina Fey back on there. What about me?
Oh, that's right. He was on Saturday Night Live. Can you believe it? No memory of that now.
Well, he will always say, like, at the very least, as long as Victoria Jackson's still around, he's not the one who's fallen the furthest. Andy,
does his energy get any better, or does he end up?
It's 13 minutes long.
Asleep?
I don't think we could do that to people. We should be playing it at.
You know what that is,
time.
Billy?
Just let it go. Let's do one more minute.
That's
I know
like
we're
Victoria Jackson at a.
Right. This is like an entirely different podcast that we got with you on, Andy. Yeah. It's 40 minutes. All right, let's just play two more minutes.
You're the fascist. So I would say, how many times have you, Rick, here's your check. How many times have you gone out? Have you made any progress? Is there anybody I can call and help? Is it with a reference or anything? And if the guy just looks at me and says, listen, I'm not going out. I don't care. Give me the check and let's get out of here. It's almost sort of like, I don't know, your brother's, my brother's keeper sort of thing. No, but you could be his, let's call it his welfare parole agent, where if the guy's just sitting there saying, no, I'm not going to do nothing. I always think about the poor people who do.
Bill O'Reilly's literally laughing at that.
We're getting screwed out of a bigger portion of what they deserve because there are so many hacks who are gaming it. And I think there has to be a subtle way to figure out who the hacks are. And I think this monthly breakfast with.
Let me ask you this. All right, it's monthly. Let me ask you. Yeah, exactly.
This is so great.
Hold on for a second. How does Dennis Miller have any clue that there are people, like, what part of his life is exposed to all the people who are gaming the system to get food stamps or subsidies in the exchanges for health insurance?
In Santa Barbara? You mean in what part of Santa Barbara would he have to go?
Maybe he's just noting him at the people who show up at his concerts, or is
but how come you guys didn't like his brother's keeper? What was it? He did a brother's keeper.
I'm not my brother's keeper, but maybe
joke?
I'd be the welfare parole agent.
Yeah, there was a reference. Bop, bop, bop.
Welfare parole agent.
I need to get out of the house.
Billo, could you maybe have stopped harassing people at a certain point?
Yeah,
so I
how
could
about
have
that?
one remaining TV gig left? Because I don't think Varney really appreciates the same.
Does Dennis Miller really want the obligation of working for social servies? I mean, wouldn't he then have some greater responsibility to turn in the guy that he's working with?
Who's going to replace him, though, Sam?
Yeah.
Who's going to replace the brilliant right-wing comedy because I don't think he has the energy anymore. Who's the next right-wing Dennis Miller?
Somebody will
blaze
pop
up the chart.
I will be Dennis Miller here and say that even in spite of all of this, every other right-wing comedian I've ever seen makes Dennis Miller look like George Carlin. Like, I mean, honestly.
Well, you played me a guy. You played me a guy who was on fire.
On fire.
He was
doing
doing his impression of Dennis Miller.
Oh, there. You know
Remember
what?
that
That
guy?
guy should replace Dennis Miller. The Dennis Miller impression guy should replace Dennis Miller.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos